Today's video, let's have a quick look at how eSIM launch, after eSIM launch, DENT has been doing in the recent months. Before that, I want to have a look. I want to have a look at the major milestones that DENT have achieved in the recent years. Launch of the DENT's loyalty program for the mobile Android app was a key one that was achieved last year. And the next one is DENT offer wall, which is basically allows users to earn free DENT for watching ads on the app, and data trading on the Android mobile app, and then voice minutes in 120 countries. And then we had a recent past 3 months we saw eSIM launch in 50 countries as well. So that's they are the key things that have been achieved in last year. And what is on the cards for the next quarter 2020 is basically they are planning to expand the eSIM to more countries, and planning to have a selling of unused eSIM mobile data as well, and then possibility of DENT messenger as well. So these are the key items that I'm seeing that I'm looking forward for as a DENT community member. So today's video, let's have a quick look at some of the frequently asked doubts and fears and questions from the community that I frequently hear. So why a mobile user has to hold DENT tokens? What is the value for a mobile user to hold or buy DENT tokens? Is there any benefit in holding it other than the speculative nature of cryptocurrencies? DENT is no different from any other tokens except the fact that it has an additional benefit of exchanging the tokens for mobile data and top-ups. Remember, a mobile user could do the same top-up without having to buy DENT token as well. So in the app they can directly buy data plans, which is a feature that they are going to launch. And all data top-up purchases execute an order on the DENT exchange, where behind the scenes DENT tokens are used as an intermediary medium of exchange of fiat equivalent of the DENT. So basically any purchase or selling that happens on the DENT exchange has behind the scenes DENT tokens being exchanged. So what is the advantage of having a DENT token at all if data top-ups could be bought and sold in normal traditional fiat currencies? So why do we need DENT tokens? So in order to operate globally, having a single medium of value for mobile data top-ups will free the users from having themselves tied up to a single operator and not able to move operators because of lengthy contracts. Now this actually provides more freedom for the consumers because they all they need is just a single unified currency for mobile data, wherein they could use the mobile data they buy in multiple different countries without having to worry about crazy roaming charges and whatnots basically. So why the heck, another question, frequently asked question is, why the heck they need 100 billion tokens? Even tokens with just 15 million supply are struggling to figure out a fair market price. Then why DENT is having 100 billion tokens? This is one of the very frequent question that keeps coming, and that also scares a lot of new buyers looking for investment. So from the outset, it looks to anyone that it is a far too much of supply, and there always will be a high supply than demand at any given point of time. This fear is quite rational. First, let's understand and analyze two aspects of the DENT token model. before we get to the point of understanding why they need 100 billion tokens. We need to address these two aspects of the DENT token model first. So first is their revenue stream. So what is the revenue stream for the DENT business? So right now their eSIM data plans are sold at $4.20 for 1 GB of data, and is now available in 50 countries and is likely to expand to more than 100 countries in the future. Then we have voice minutes sold and available in 120 countries. So they both are potential revenue streams, and they are the key revenue streams for DENT at the moment. That's one of the aspects. Another aspect is why and how someone can see value in holding DENT. We need to get an understanding of this. So the DENT Afterpreneur loyalty program is a very lucrative program through which allows users to lock their tokens for 1 month and get free voice minutes and earn more tokens towards offer wall as well. A starting Afterburner program is just 30,000 DEN tokens, which users can lock up for a month, for which they get 50 minutes a month of voice minutes to 120 countries. The maximum threshold for the DENT AB program is 10 million tokens. The loyalty program starts from the minimum of 30,000 tokens and goes all the way up to 10 million tokens. So the voice minutes are recurring free minutes which are reset every fortnight. Remember, not that many users of the mobile app know about DENT Afterburner yet. Otherwise, we would have seen the shortage of DENT token supply on crypto exchanges and price of the token would have surged. But what is happening is the other way around. Price has almost dropped by 10,000% all the way from its previous all-time high. Right now, there's not enough demand both on the crypto exchanges and the DENT exchange to actually eat up all those sell orders. So the reason we are seeing the price of DENT tokens dropping so drastically in the past 2 years since its all-time high is purely due to increase. It's not increase in just supply alone. It's not enough demand on the buying side. So there's quite a lot of people. The community is pretty active, and a lot of people still believe in the DENT project's success. And I myself personally believe that it has a unique selling point in many aspects. And it's targeting the telco industry, which is quite huge. If you look at the top 10 telco industries in the world, they all are in well above 100 billion market cap worth, and they are publicly traded companies as well, most of them, and they are well above 100 and 200. Some of them are even 100 200 billion companies right now. Just the top 10 telcos will probably account for well above 1 trillion in net worth. So that's the big market that DENT is trying to hit. But the sad thing is the supply is really huge compared to the, it's not an absolute figure that I'm seeing, but compared to the demand, the supply is huge. And this is the situation right now. Yeah, we got to understand certain things here. So any number crunching will only make it look pretty on paper, but not on reality. Most of the cryptocurrencies don't have real adoption, value, or utility. DENT is no exception to it, but it's all down to consumer behavior. If you look at most of the fiat currencies, most of them are not backed by any commodity or asset. It's just operates on the belief and trust of a group of people on the system, nothing more than that. So they believe that $10 could allow you to buy goods and services, and the same $10 retains its value globally for buying and consuming goods and services. That is the level of belief and trust it's happening in the monetary system. The currencies are not backed by any commodity or asset. So fiat currencies has been around purely because of consumer behavior of belief and trust towards the system. It's the crowd behavior of billions of people which attributes to the operational success of all fiat currencies in existence, even though most of us know its deflationary nature. Most of the fiat currencies, they lose their value with time. So the key factors for the operational success of all fiat currencies is basically you need two things. One is trust and belief on the system and a large group of people. So you need a large group of group of people, and then their behavior of trust and belief on a piece of a system is what attributes to the success of all fiat currencies. So understand this, and later in the video I will let you know how this correlates with DENT's model of the token model. So before that, let's have a quick snap look at the DENT's potential market. So in order to evaluate any business, it's better to look at their target markets as well. So clearly DENT is heading towards becoming a global telco operator. There's no doubt about that. Right now as we speak, DENT is operational in 120 countries, either through their esim offering or data top-ups or voice minutes. And their target users are mobile smartphone users, and most of them are prepaid users as well, their target users. And there are roughly 2.5 billion smartphone users who are on prepaid worldwide. And remember, there are more toothbrushes than there are more mobile smartphones than toothbrushes in the world. This is a famous statement from Miko, one of our co-founder of DENT. And imagine 30,000 DENT tokens cost roughly $4 and gives 50 minutes of voice minutes to 120 countries. That's the very minimal value proposition from DENT Afterburner loyalty program, which makes it lucrative for users to hold DENT in the app and lock it up for a month. The maximum for Afterburner goes up to 10 million DENT tokens. Even if 1% of 2.5 billion people, which is roughly 25 million people, decide to hold 30,000 token, then it will wipe out, then you need 750 billion tokens. Let's do a very conservative maths here. It's just 0.1% of the global 2.5 billion smartphone users. That would be like 2.5 million times 30,000 tokens. Then you need 75 billion tokens. So now you can get a rough idea of the volume of potential users that DENT is trying to address. So the market size is huge. That's the reason they designed to have 100 billion supply. So let's have a quick look at something called law of diffusion of innovation model. So if you look at this model, it's basically has got 5 different groups. So innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. So what is the diffusion of innovation says? This model helps a business to understand how a buyer adopts and engages with new products or technologies over time. And companies will use it when launching a new product or service, adapting it, or introducing an existing product into a new market. It shows how the product can be adopted by 5 different categories or consumer types and how to engage as a business with these types of people. So acceptance by the innovators, early adopters, and early majority is required to gain the acceptance of late majority and laggards, because the late majority and laggards will only believe once those first 3 groups have accepted, because they require others to first utilize the product and make the necessary sacrifices before they'll use their products. That's the reason DENT is holding off from doing any massive marketing at the moment, because any marketing if you do while they are on the innovator phase is not going to be helpful, because the innovators, they don't buy a product just because it's being advertised. They don't look at advertisements or something and make their decision to buy, but they actually uh, make the decision to buy based on the innovation and market differentiation there. So let's have a look at law of diffusion of innovation. So if you look at the target potential prepaid user market, mobile phone user market, which is 2.5 billion. So the 2.5% of the 2.5 billion mobile phone users would be 62.5 million users. So once the dense user base increases to 2.5% of the global smartphone users, then there will be a huge shift in consumer behavior, which will kick exponential growth. That's when every Jim and Joe would want to hold a few dent on the app. Once the number of users exceeds the 2.5%, it gets to an exponential adoption, and then it grabs a 13.5% of the market share. Just this is based on what the law of diffusion of innovation talks about. So the tipping point for the law of diffusion of innovation is 13.5%. So where we are at the moment is, right now we are at 25 million users. So even to get beyond this yearly innovators phase, we need 2.5% of the 2.5 billion users, which is roughly 62.5 million users. Once we get to see a huge number of people using the app, the consumer behavior will shift. As I said, they will start having belief and trust in that new system, and once they start having belief and trust on this new DENT token model and new way of buying data, then you're going to see a huge number of people trying to hold DENT on the app. So that's when you can actually start seeing the real demand kicking in. So right now, the reason we are not seeing the price in the token price is purely because at the moment we are still in the still in well inside the innovators phase. We are not even close to 1% of the, we are just close to 1% of the 2.5 billion mobile phone user market. So we need to get an additional 1.5% of the 2.5 billion mobile phone users just to get beyond this 2.5% innovators group. Then once we go past this, we are going to see a huge exponential growth from the DENT community and mobile app users, so which I hope will kick quite a lot of demand in the future. And even if a very small number of people, like 2.5 million people, if they choose to hold just 30,000 tokens, then you can see like 75 billion tokens would be completely locked on the mobile app by the users. The power of this the token is actually it will go to more mobile users hands rather than crypto speculators. So that's the beauty of this system. So once people's consumer behavior changes, then when large group of people start believing on this new token model system, then we are going to see a surge in the number of people trying to use the mobile app, DENT mobile app, for their daily mobile data needs. So I think the tipping point is we can, as we see here, the tipping point is 13.5%, but I would see from 2.5% itself we will start seeing a steep increase, from my opinion and from this analysis as well. So thanks for watching, and have a good day.